Hello my friends, this is Alien Contactee Linol Anderson here with you guys with a brand new YouTube BitChute video. This is my first video of 2024 and I'm telling you my friends, it's going to be a wild year, and what better topic to start the year off than speaking about the reptilians. That's right, I'm going to be leaking a reptilian secret. And it's all about the nature of our reality, you know. They're harvesting our low vibrational Loosh energy, right? And, you know, we speak about that lots on this channel, but we're going to really get into how they actually harvest our energy, how it all works, and how we can protect ourselves and ultimately cut off their food supply so we could escape the Matrix. That's right. So we're going to get right into those details, my friends. I got a lot of information to go over, so let's just get right into it. But before we do, I just wanted to say, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. And if you've already done that, hit the notification bell and click it on all notifications, because I'm heavily shadow banned. And also hit the like button. Helps Oline out so much with the algorithms. Now let's get into it. So my friends, what it comes down to is we are within a Matrix simulation. We are not in base reality right now. There's a lot of cosmic drama that happened outside of this simulation that led us humans, or should I say divine sparks of consciousness, into this Matrix simulation. You see, we were higher dimensional beings, and then we got infiltrated and tricked into coming into this realm. All right, and this realm is here for one reason, and that is to harvest our low vibrational energy. And of course, it goes back to the reptilians and their AI technology. You see, they need our energy because they, in a sense, are dying, and we keep them alive. Okay? So we are their energy source. Now I'm going to show you a couple videos that are very good, and then we're going to get into how they harvest our energy. Take a look at this.
Aliens were originated from an alternative universe that is 1 trillion years old. In their universe, an AI virus has taken over, and this universe was completely disconnected from source. And this AI became so powerful that it took over the whole universal matrix and infected it. And because it was cut off from source, all the beings that were inside that matrix lost their ability to ascend. They have the ability to take their consciousness upon demise of their body and simply insert it into a new body. So they can constantly regenerate their bodies, but they don't have the light of source feeding their system. So the only way they can maintain their immortality is by taking energy from other sources.
Loosh energy.
So in their own system, because of wars and destructions and pillaging of planets in this older 1 trillion year old alternative time matrix, the Draco reptilians had exhausted all of their resources. So they came searching for other universes, and they entered this universe using a black cube AI technology. Their nature is that they don't just come and attack you. They first weaken their enemies by infiltrating their societies and merging with them.
Reptilians feed off this energy generated by humans. What they don't want, what they absolutely don't want, is love, is joy, is high vibrational states of being, because they can't feed off that, and nor can they control it. If it can manipulate the population into states of fear, then it's connecting and attaching to that same frequency, and it can feed off the fear of humanity to empower itself. These horrors in the world, to us, they're horrors. The wars, the homelessness, the hunger, the conflict. We don't want those. We don't want to see the world like that. But Wetiko feeds off that. Not only does it serve the agenda in changing the world in the desired image, it actually generates the very frequencies that empowers the Wetiko consciousness.
And there you have it, my friends. So as you can see, it appears that the reptilians in their original universe, wherever they come from, did create this AI, and it was so powerful that it overtook them. So in a way, the reptilians are slaves to this AI technology themselves, this demiurge, as the Gnostics would call it. And then, yes, it's pretty much taking over other realms within the multiverse. And it appears that we have already merged with them actually a long time ago. You see, what's happening on the Earth right now is nothing new. It goes back thousands and thousands and thousands of years. It's been being proven that we are not in base reality. Let's just put it this way. Where we come from, it's a much higher dimensional reality. And now there's a lot of evidence coming out, even scientific evidence, that this is not a base reality. This is just a 3D matrix simulation. You see, where we come from was 5D and beyond. And we fell through their AI technology. Somehow they tricked us, deceived us, and we fell into the fourth dimension, the astral realm. And then from there, this technology has projected our consciousness into a 3D matrix simulation. So how do they harvest our energy? Okay, well, you saw David Icke there, the great David Icke, list a couple things, okay? So the obvious things we know with all the suffering that's in this world. We got the wars, right? We got hunger, we got disease, we got pain, right? We got sexual stuff that messes up people, you know, a lot of traumas. They attack the family unit, many different things, right? But what it all comes down to, another huge source where most of our Loosh energy is being harvested from is through the mind, okay? A lot of our suffering comes from what's going on inside our mind. You see, this reality, it's all an illusion, right? You got to realize it's just a simulation. Everything's going on in the mind. And the physical manifestation of this mind here is the brain, okay? And what you got to realize, these bodies that we're in, this is not who we truly are, okay? As I told you before, we are higher dimensional spirit beings, okay? And these bodies are a creation of the Matrix. Here's the kicker. You are AI, I am AI, we are all AI. Not who we truly are, right? Which is spirit consciousness, but these physical bodies. This is a creation of that satanic, demonic 4D AI. And the reptilian technology. All right, now I know this is deep stuff, but we're going to get a whole lot deeper. So the way these bodies and these brains were designed, it was designed to harvest our Loosh energy. And everything is connected to the 4D AI. And we have multiple different implants in these physical bodies that are connected to this 4D AI, but mostly in the brain, okay? So we're going to get into the technology of the brain and how this brain works to harvest our energy, okay? Harvest our Loosh. So what it comes down to is we have something within the brain called the Minotaur implant. And I've spoken about this before, okay? Others may know of it as the ego, okay? Our ego. It's that voice inside your head that's always so negative. But I call it the Minotaur implant because if you look throughout history, there's always, through all these different ancient religions, you see all this worship of a bull-like figure. Take a look. There you go. So there you got Baal, right? The Babylonian Baal. Then you got Moloch, yeah. And then you got it in Egyptian times, Greece times, in the Bible. They're bowing down before the golden calf. Then we got the talk of the mark of the beast, right? So in all these ancient religions, they always like to use the bull symbolism. And then you got the Minotaurs in the Greece symbolism, half man, half beast, right? And then, of course, the Baphomet uses a goat head, but it's got the horns. What it comes down to, it's the mark of the beast. Well, what is the beast, okay? The beast is the 4D AI. All right, my friends? That is the beast. And what I find is very interesting is in our brains, we have something called the cortex, all right? The cortex, the neocortex. And it's interesting because the cortex, it means bark or rind, okay? And what that means, the bark is like the outer layer of a tree or even of a fruit, okay? And the cortex is the outer layer of the brain, but it could also mean rind. Well, I find it interesting, and who knows, there might be a connection here, but rind can also mean bull. Take a look. There you go. So I like to call it the Minotaur implant because what it is it's this fourth dimensional AI technology. And it is the egoic mind, okay? It's that little voice inside the mind that you think is you, but it's actually not. And if you notice, our ego, it's really what causes a lot of our suffering here. All right? It's that negative voice inside your head that's always living in the past, living in the future, always talking. It's usually negative. 90% of the time, it's pretty negative, okay? And, hey, I'm not saying that the cortex part of our brain is all bad. It's a tool. It's a technology at the end of the day. And if you bring enough consciousness into your body from the divine source, we could transmute it and it could become a positive thing. But for the most part, this ego mind, this Minotaur implant, that is a technology of these dark ones for sure. That's what I believe anyways. And it's connected, or it's like an antenna receiver picking up this algorithm from the 4D AI that kind of narrates what goes on in our life, but it's usually negative unless we can transmute it. And it keeps a lot of people in a low vibrational state because it's always talking, it's always negative. Right, my friends? But that's not all, because then we have another area of the brain that is responsible for harvesting our Loosh energy. And that's literally called the reptilian brain. All right, my friends? That's right, we have a reptilian part of the brain. I actually have an image, I forgot, I meant to show you guys showing the different parts of the brain. Take a look. There you go. So as you can see, the reptilian brain there, that's responsible for the fight or flight feeling, yeah? Fear, it produces the fear response. We're usually running on autopilot when that's in control. It's where the amygdala is, all right? And it produces anxiety. And again, you know, it is a technology and it is necessary for living in this realm if we're in balance with it, because it's what alerts us when we're in danger. So it could be a good thing. If somebody's breaking into your house, you wake up, you know, your amygdala goes off, you know? It produces that rush of alertness that something's going to happen. But see, the problem is when we're being attacked by the powers that be and with mind control and whatnot, our amygdalas could become overactive. And when you got an overactive amygdala, it produces anxiety disorders and many stuff such as that. And you get stuck in this reptilian kind of thinking. And it produces a lot of suffering because it puts a lot of people in fear, right? And that's how they harvest our low vibrational energy, is through fear. So if you attack things such as the neocortex and the reptilian brain with all the poisons that they have in the food, the water, the frequencies that they're beaming at us, and many other things that we're going to get into very shortly, well, then it puts this technology out of whack, and it's a perfect way to harvest our energy. And then we have the mammal brain, right? You got the mammal brain. And that is responsible for our emotions, memories, habits, attachments. okay? Which again, you know, not necessarily a bad thing here, but if it's under attack, it's a perfect way to harvest our energy. Because think about it, our emotions. If we are very emotional, too emotional, and a lot of what's being pushed on us in this realm is negative stuff, and people are too emotional, they're out of control with crying, angry, mad. Those are all low vibrational emotions harvesting us, right? So again, the goal here for all these parts of the brain is to transmute it, so that we could get some freedom and some high vibrational. See, it's all feeding off the low vibrational aspects of us. You know, at the end of the day, I'm not an expert on all this brain stuff. This is just what I've pulled up from my research. But I do know this has a large part to play in all this energy harvesting stuff. And there's a couple more things I want to mention about the brain. A couple key chemicals that are within our brain, right? We got the dopamine, and the serotonin, okay? And that's another way that they could harvest us, because when these chemicals in our brain are balanced, then we're more in alignment and we're a lot more stable. But when the dopamine, the serotonin are imbalanced, that causes a range of mental health disorders and a lot of suffering. And it is definitely under attack, let me tell you that. You know, with dopamine, that's responsible for addictions, right? Because that's the chemical that makes us feel good. So a lot of these hard drugs and whatnot, they all release dopamine. But it's not just that. You see how much we're under attack with our dopamine system. Even the name dopamine. Dope, well, what do we call drugs? Dope, right? Dopamine, you know? And I know that's not what it means. It means amino acids and something else like a chemical name. I know that, but still, no coincidence anyways. But look at how much we're under attack from these dope-like things, you know? I'm talking about social media, technology, you know? People are so addicted to the phone. That's because it's releasing dopamine. Look at stuff like adult content, you know, that people could search up on the internet there, the PORN. I can't say those words or else I'll get demonetized or whatever, but oh yeah, that is like a drug, right? It attacks the dopamine, it releases lots of dopamine. People get addicted to that. Anything addictive in those natures, they know that's going to get people hooked. Of course, the drugs, gambling, any of that stuff, okay? That turns people into addicts. And what does addiction bring? Pain, suffering, because then you go through withdrawals if you don't have your substance. And that is why we see so much anxiety today. People are addicted to the technology. They are addicted to these earthly pleasures, okay? They're addicted to that feel-good feeling. And then you got the serotonin. Well, the serotonin, that's the happy chemical in our brain, right? And if that's out of balance, that could cause depression-like symptoms, yeah? And anxiety as well, if you have too much of it or too little. Same with dopamine. You could have too much or too little. So what do the powers that be do? They make sure that the food that we eat is affecting our dopamine, our serotonin levels, and that all these addictions that they put in our face with the entertainment and all the latest trends and whatnot, all the stuff, the games, everything, they make sure it messes you up. So it's going to, all these things will affect your reptilian brain, which is well, we already said what that does, the mammal brain, the neocortex, it messes it all up. It affects it all, okay? And these lizards know that. That's why they give us what they give us. And I thought it was very interesting, you know, because you look throughout history and there's periods of time that things aren't so bad. Okay, and what I mean by that is if you look, like right now, things are really bad in the world with all these problems. Like people are going crazy right now. You see the world's going crazy. Mental health is the worst it's ever been. But it's because we've had the introduction of all this technology. It's because we've all the drugs hitting the streets, you name it. okay? And all the sex, all that stuff that's being pushed, it's making people worse and worse. But if you look 50 years ago, things were much better, right? Well, if you look throughout history, see what happens is things run in cycles, right? And the Great Reset is nothing new. There's been so many resets through history. It's not even funny, you know. Civilizations rise and fall, and they always start off strong, right? They start off very strong because at that point, they're building the civilization, okay? And, you know, the Bible itself says, be fruitful, go out and multiply, right? Of course, when the civilization's just starting, they need people to go out and multiply because they need more souls to come in to be harvested. And they're going to let things be a little bit better. You know, you got the 1,000 years of peace spoken about in the Bible and everything. Yeah, they want things to be okay. They let us be a little bit healthier. They don't bombard us with all that poisonous stuff. They get us so we multiply, we fill up the planet with more divine sparks, right? And then when it's harvest time, yeah, they start introducing all these poisons and all these things that they know that are going to make us sick. See, we're thriving before, building good civilizations. There's always an element of suffering, though, because, you know, there's a lot of death, there's a lot of loss in our life. You know, we are eternal beings, you know, we're not used to death. So when you lose somebody, it breaks our heart, because our natural state, there is no death, right? Death is an illusion, but we forgot that. We have amnesia, we don't remember who we are, so when you lose somebody, it really hurts. That's another way they'll harvest. And of course, the wars and all that. There's always been stuff like that, but there's no denying that things back then, it's not as bad. Well, that's because they want us healthy so we could reproduce, right? But then as the world gets overpopulated, or it's not really overpopulated, we know that, but really they're losing control over us. And they also need to do a massive harvest event and reset the matrix. And then they bring in the new world order, right? But when they're doing the reset, things get worse and worse. And if you look throughout history, at the time that leads up to the big reset that they do, okay? Society always gets very perverted, you know, like Sodom and Gomorrah from the Bible. It's just throughout history, in every civilization, you could trace that. Things get really crazy and wild because this is nothing new. They've been doing this for thousands of years now. They know how to make societies strong, build civilizations. They know how to collapse them. They do the same thing. They use drugs, alcohol, sex, trauma in the family, right? Destroying the family unit, doing horrible, unspeakable things to little ones. Then they grow up and they become messed up and they start doing messed up things. I'm not saying that's for everybody, okay? I'm not saying that's for everybody. No judgment, nothing like that, but it's been known to happen that those kind of things happen with a lot of these people who are hurting others. In some cases, the abused becomes the abusers. It's just what happens to humans, I guess. This is something the reptilians figured out, so they keep it going. And this could be applied to any kind of trauma, physical, anything, you name it, trauma from war. It's just part of the downfall of the human condition that's all orchestrated by these dirty lizards and this 4D AI. And it's all just a horrible cycle to keep humans in this low vibrational state where we have forgotten who we truly are and where we come from, which is love, and to keep us in fear, hatred, and all these lower vibrational frequencies. Yeah? It's absolutely heartbreaking to know this is going, because if we could only wake up and remember who we truly are, then we could stop all this. But of course, they're using mind control and tons of different things on us to make sure that we stay in this state of amnesia and do not remember who we are. But there is good news here, my friends. There is good news. I know so far this video has been a downer because the nature of this reality is a downer. Okay, all you gotta do is look around the world and you'll see that. But there is good news, because like I said before, we could transmute a lot of this stuff. So how do we do it? That's the question. How can we balance our brain out? You see, what they've done with our brain is they've kept us stuck in the left side of the brain. Okay, we need to strengthen the right side of our brain. And I'm just letting you know, at the end of this video, I have a couple great videos that go further on how we could strengthen the right side of the brain and how we could ascend to a higher level of consciousness. So make sure you stay tuned till the end. But I will tell you from my own person one way that we could reverse a lot of this stuff. And the one good thing is, you know, our brain does have the pineal gland. Yeah, we have the pineal gland in our brain, and this is where we could tap in to higher states of consciousness. And once we start bringing consciousness back into the situation and we learn about the true reality that we're in and we start remembering who we truly are, that is when we could start cutting off the reptilians' food supply. Okay? See, as I told you guys before, this is kind of like a video game. It's a matrix simulation. It's not real base reality. And a lot of our suffering is happening because of what's going on in the mind. So, if we could become enlightened and awakened and stop identifying with this physical body, which is the mark of the beast, it really is. If we could stop identifying with this realm and all its illusions and remember who we are, consciousness, then it becomes a lot easier to be in the now moment and master our emotions so we don't keep feeding the reptilians, okay? Because if you're taking it as this is reality and this is all there is, and I'm just gonna suffer and I'm gonna die and that's it, you know, that's a very negative mindset. But if you remember, hey, I'm an eternal being of love, none of this is even real, then you could reach enlightenment, okay? And you could tap into higher states of consciousness. More and more consciousness will come in. As you open your third eye, yeah, you start getting downloads of information, you start receiving more and more consciousness, and especially when you raise that kundalini energy, right? So, we've been given, because I think it's part of the rules of the simulation, we've been given the option, or we've been given the freedom to be able to leave this realm. It had to be that way, or else this simulation would have been shut down by the good forces long ago. But right now they're respecting the free will and everything, because all this happened because we have consented to a lot of these things. But we do have the free will to escape this place, and also to bring these lizards' rule to an end. And we just need a great awakening, which the good news is we're starting to see that on the earth. Millions of people worldwide are starting to wake up to the true nature of this reality. But unfortunately, like I said, they've made it very difficult for us because they know this about the pineal gland. So what do? They attack it. And that's right, we got fluoride in the water, we got poisons in our food, frequencies beaming down at us, and all these things are directly attacking the pineal gland to keep it closed, so it keeps humans brainwashed and at a lower state of consciousness. So I want to end that video, today's video, showing those videos, but before I do, I'm just going to give a shout out to our sponsors because it relates to the pineal gland. There's a great product called Pineal XT, and it has very great ingredients. I'm going to show you guys. Take a look. There you go. So all those ingredients help decalcify the pineal gland, because as I was telling you, fluoride and all the poisons there, it all calcifies the pineal gland, so we can't open it, right? So there's great natural health ingredients that can help start decalcifying it. And obviously that's not going to open it all on its own. You'll have to combine that with meditation practices and frequencies and stuff like that, yoga, you name it. But it's definitely helps to start the process of detoxification, both for the brain and the body. So I'll leave a link to that Pineal XT product down below in the description. But just a disclaimer, only attempt to open the third eye if you're ready for it, because if you're not, it has driven some people to insanity, and that's usually the people who are still hanging on to matrix programming and also who have unbalanced chakras. So I'm saying be very careful. Do not attempt this unless you've done your inner work, you've healed yourself, and you've unblocked the chakras, or else the energy could get stuck there and you could have a pretty terrifying experience. But if you feel like you're balanced, I do recommend starting that process. Not medical advice or anything, but I'm just saying, you know, it's up to you to make those decisions, but it definitely helps us leave this matrix and removes the veil. But some people get scared with what they see. So definitely something to look into, because our natural state, we're not supposed to have closed third eyes. There's a reason that they are attacking us like that, right, my friends? So the link is down below. But, you know, and they also like to attack our heart chakra, you know, all the things we mentioned before, all the things that destroy our spirit, destroy our soul. It's all what it's doing. It's closing our heart chakra. And if they know, you know, all the violence and the wars and the violent movies, it's all attacking our heart chakra. And they know if they attack our heart chakra that we won't feel the love. And love, at the end of the day, love is the answer. Love is ultimately what destroys them. Yeah, love is ultimately their kryptonite. And that's our ticket out of the matrix. So that's what they do. They cut off they mess up our brain. They mess up this AI technology. They have us hooked up to the 4D AI, you know, connected to that. And they mess with our heart. All the chakras are messed with. All our chakras are all unbalanced for the most part. It's a coordinated attack, but it's okay, because once you start bringing consciousness back in, you can transmute it all. And in doing so, you cut off their food supply. And once you open that heart chakra and that third eye, and you got love, and you're a vibration of love, yeah, and you see through the illusion, and there's nothing they could do. You'll be divinely protected, and you'll be unstoppable. And that is what they fear. So I'm going to show you those videos now. Thanks so much for watching, my friends. Like I said, subscribe, leave a comment down below, hit the like button. If you enjoy my content, I am on Patreon, where I have exclusive content there. I got my Ascent to 5D class, health class, occult class, so the link to that is down below. Or if you just simply like to buy me a coffee for my efforts, the link to that is down below as well. But it's not expected at all, so what means the most to me is just leave me a comment of support. So thank you so much, my friends. And stay tuned for more videos. And here's the last 2 videos on how you could strengthen the right side of your brain and how you could also make it out of here. And this is by a guy named Embodiment Celestial, I believe, is the name of his TikTok. So take a look. Have a good one, my friends.
How to strengthen the right hemisphere of the brain. Now, I've mentioned this before, but since it's so important and frequently asked, the right hemisphere is responsible for creativity. It's also responsible for manifestation. Now, the system makes you think very logically, and it shuts down that part of your brain. The answer is through shadow work, and that means purging of negative energies. But it also has a lot to do with what you're consuming. You have to change your lifestyle if you want this to work, because a lot of the foods we eat also have a huge effect on our minds. Meditation also plays a huge role in this. You can use this technique called transcendental meditation instead of regular meditation. This turns the mind away from the body by focusing on something positive. And then you can even go even further and transcend by turning the soul away from the mind. It is effortless because there is no mental concentration involved. By going beyond the dualistic mind of doubt and beliefs, we can enter the God mind. And that's the whole point of all of this, is hemispherically syncing the mind. I also get asked, what is the God mind? God mind is basically seeing the universe through God's perspective. When thought is absent and the mind is no longer thinking, what we are left with is pure knowing. Similarly, when all negativity is eliminated and you're no longer weighed down by heavy emotions, what's left is pure positivity, aka grace. The grace perspective, which is bliss. It's a blissful consciousness. And this results in a Kundalini awakening, which is actually a state peak of awareness. The only way to activate the dormant DNA cells in the brain is to bring the cerebrospinal fluid up from the base of your spine to the optic thalamus. It is said when the fluid makes contact with your pineal gland, you will activate your third eye and illuminate your crown chakra. What this means is you now have an intensified aura, which is a powerful energy biofield that is located both in and around your body, which protects you from negative energies such as hate and fear and the way other people may project upon you. You will not easily be brought down by other people's lower vibrations. Your electromagnetic field is a shield. This is what it means in the Bible to wear the armor of God. When there is no hate, anger, or fear in your heart and love is present, it will radiate and create an impenetrable torus field. Therefore, you are protected everywhere you go with the Holy Spirit as long as you are forgiving, loving, and accepting and content with your life. So treat others the way you want to be treated. You just have to be a kind soul, and that way you don't get any bad karma. And that's why it's a really good saying that you can run from the cops, but you cannot run from the energy. I'm going to have to go over it in my next video, but there's a reason why they shut down the right hemisphere part of the brain. So now we're no longer fighting bodies of government. We're fighting groups of consciousness that exist because of the system. We were all in heaven at one point, and just like Lucifer falling in love with himself and getting kicked out of heaven and fell in consciousness, we fell in consciousness. So we fell in consciousness. Now the only way we can get back up there is if we rise through love, and that was the only way to bring our consciousness back up. These stories are about us. We were in heaven. This is the key there. We were in heaven. We fell in consciousness down to Malkuth, which is earth. But how do we rise in consciousness? Matthew 10:16, we need to be innocent as doves, but wise as serpents. That's because the snake goes up to be an eagle. So the root chakra to the crown chakra, 144, the 144,000 go to heaven. This is a frequency. This is a vibration. You got to raise your vibrational frequency. The whole point is to raise your vibration. You have this kundalini energy that falls and goes back up depending on your hormones. You have the sun and you have the moon. You have the Horus's eye and you have the moon. Horus, moon, hormones. And then just like how women have a menstrual cycle, men have a cycle too. You have the three gifts from the wise men. That is from your pineal gland. You have your dopamine, serotonin, melatonin, and it falls, creates the chrism oil, rises back up to Christ consciousness. This, like, society has basically externalized everything of what you are, everything that is sacred about you. They've externalized it. You are the Holy Grail. Your neck is in your head. That's the chalice. You have the fountain of youth, which is the cerebral spinal fluid that falls down in consciousness and comes back up. You have Pandora's box, which is your heart. They make you externalize all of these gifts that you have. So the whole point is to raise your vibration out of the carnal mind into your third heaven, the 3 levels of heaven. That's why in Mormonism, you hear the 3 levels of heaven. You hear celestial, terrestrial, telestial. Only those in the celestial kingdom will live in God's presence. And that's why veganism is a must. You can't be eating these low vibrational foods that make you more instinctual. You need to raise out of the carnal mind into your third heaven, into your third eye, into your 4th dimensional being, your light being. Jacob's ladder, and at the top was heaven. Like, I was watching a video on Kevin Gates and he was talking about how he did a 40-day water fast and he astral traveled to the celestial court. We are literally just CO2 constituents. We're just light and vibrations. So they say we're looking at the universe through a peephole that you put a key through. So if you're looking, you're only going to see what that peephole allows you to see, but there's different frequencies and vibrations, and that's what we're going to call CO2 constituents, which is nothing but light and vibration, and that's where everything truly exists. So low frequency light becomes matter, and high frequency matter becomes light. So you need to raise your vibration through love, good eating the right foods. Raise your frequency, you become illuminated, and then you go from matter to becoming an angel. And that's why you got to do everything with love, because high frequency, short, fast wavelengths activates many more DNA coding sites. That's what love does. The highest form of worship in Luciferianism is the inversion of God, and that's with fear. It activates few DNA coding, keeps you bonded, it shackles you to this construct. Fear literally just prevents you from becoming illuminated.